Hello again. Let's talk more about the clustering factor. And this time we will dig into some more theoretical concepts. My apology if this episode sounds a little bit boring, but you will see the what is the real usefulness of all these concepts when later we will dig more into performance problems. So I believe you remember that we have created a table space in order to make our clustering factor test, and then we have created the table, we have inserted the data. You remember the even numbers and then the odd numbers and so on. And now let's see what is happening exactly at the low level data file formatting, table space formatting. So first we create a table space, and it is empty, of course, there is nothing inside. And then we create the first table. Let's call it T1, and after that we'll create a second table. So what exactly Oracle is doing at the data file level? So it will format, as I believe we already talked about the extents and the blocks. The extent, let me remind you this, the extent is here, the smallest allocation unit on the disk, while the block is the smallest exchange unit between the disk and the memory. You can see it here. These are extent E1, E2, E3, E4, and little boxes are blocks, and there are rows inside the blocks. So let's go back here. So we have extents here. Let's say that we have created two tables. We call them T1 and T2, and only the first two extents are formatted. Here there is nothing there. It is empty. They are not. These extents still do not exist. Huh? Okay, and look, since we have created the first table, it has allocated the first extent, and then it will later format the blocks inside the extent. Okay, we create a second table, and it again will allocate another extent, and it will be ready to format this block. Now, it can be shown as like that as well. So we have only allocated the first block, what we see here. Not all the blocks are allocated, but the first one, B1 here and B1 here, are allocated. Maybe I should call this one B2. Okay, never mind. No, okay. No, so this is the first block of the second table. You can make a distinction with colors. And then the first block, I believe we already said, so is the segment header. So the first block is formatted, and everything else is empty. Now we insert values, some values into T1 and T2, and it will format like this. These are rows, you know, and you have the dotted line, and the rows will fill the block until it is completely full, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. As well here, more data we insert, more blocks will be filled. Of course, you understand that this is the first table, and this is the second table, T2. So the rows from the first table can never go inside the extent of the other table. It is natural. And then at some level, okay, here I have imagined the example that the second table, T2, is bigger than the first one, so it continues to grow. Here we have other extents that are allocated here, and at some moment we will create a table called T3, okay, and it will of course allocate a new extent, which is here, and the first block of the extent, which is called the segment header. Later we will insert more data into T2 table, and it will continue to insert rows, and then finally we will insert the data here in the T1 table, and that's it. Okay, so you have a bitmap, some kind of bitmap, a low-level formatting what that is happening inside a data file. So how this concept is related to our concept, clustering factor? Simply because at some stage we might we may want to delete data, so it will create empty blocks like this, and then okay, that's all. The new insertion, for example, we have deleted some data that were in this block, and if we want to insert the new data, will Oracle go at the end of the last block of the last extent here, or will it try to fill the empty space? Of course, instead you specify otherwise, Oracle will simply put the data inside this block. There are commands to force Oracle to insert above what is called the high watermark, and this is here. But okay, we will see some other time. So there is no reason for Oracle not to insert the data inside the empty block. How this is related to clustering factor? Well, you remember that the clustering factor is some measure indicator of dispersion of the data. So with this feature, let's say that the feature that the data is inserted, always inserted wherever there is an empty space, an empty space inside the block. So it will, as you can imagine, it will make a clustering factor even worse because the data will be again, they will be less organized, less ordered, because you remember that the clustering factor is the order of the data comparing to the order that exists in the index, and inside an index the data are always ordered. So with this feature that Oracle inserts the data wherever it finds a hole inside a table space, inside an empty block, it will make the clustering factor become even worse. It will, because the dispersion will grow. Excuse me. Thanks for watching.